It's just a loan. You'll get it back, my dad assured me. When I asked for it back, he laughed. I took matters into my own hands. 2 days later, he regretted it. I still remember the exact moment I handed my dad the money. $10,000. More than I'd ever given anyone in my life. I was nervous, but he patted me on the back and grinned. It's just a loan, he said. You'll get it back in no time. You know I'm good for it. And I believed him. Because why wouldn't I? He was my father. The man who raised me, the man who always had an answer for everything. The man who had never really needed my help before. If he was asking for money, it had to be serious. So I transferred the money to his account. That was 4 months ago. Now, every time I bring it up, he just laughs. At first, it was little things, dodging the question, changing the subject. But after a few weeks, his tone changed. The last time I asked, he actually smirked and said, "What, you still thinking about that? Let it go." I didn't know what to say. Let it go? $10,000? That wasn't pocket change. That was my savings. That was months of work, careful budgeting, and sacrificing nights out with friends just to build a safety net. And he thought it was funny. That was when I realized something. He never intended to pay me back. The anger built slowly. It wasn't just about the money. It was the way he dismissed me, like I was some naive kid who didn't understand how the world worked. But I understood perfectly. And if he thought he could take advantage of me without consequences, he was in for a surprise. Because I wasn't going to let this slide. I was going to make him regret it. And 2 days later he did. I spent the rest of the night lying awake, staring at the ceiling. The betrayal sat like a stone in my stomach. Not just the money. If this had been anyone else, I could have written it off as a bad loan. But this was my own father. And the worst part? He wasn't even trying to hide it. He wanted me to feel stupid. Wanted me to feel powerless. That's what burned the most. I replayed every conversation in my head, every time I brought up the money, only for him to brush me off like I was some kid begging for an allowance. I clenched my fists. Fine. If he wanted to act like that, I'd treat him like any other scammer. I just needed to figure out where to hit him where it really hurt. And then it came to me. It wasn't his wallet that mattered most to him. It wasn't even his pride. It was his reputation. My dad had always cared about how people saw him. He loved being the guy who had it all together, the one his friends envied, the one who could hold court at the dinner table and act like the smartest person in the room. He didn't just want respect. He needed it. And that's exactly what I was going to take from him. I reached for my phone and started making a list. Step 1. Find out just how deep in the hole he really was. I had a feeling this loan wasn't just a one-time thing. My dad had been living a little too comfortably for someone who constantly complained about being tight on cash. If he owed me, he probably owed others too. And if that was the case? Well, let's just say a little well-placed pressure could make his life very uncomfortable. The fun was just getting started. The next morning, I started digging. I wasn't sure what I would find, but I knew my dad well enough to suspect there was more to this than just my loan. He always had that smooth way of talking, that trust-me attitude that made people let their guard down. And it worked, until you looked closer. I started with his friends. The guys he played poker with, the ones he had beers with on Sundays. They were the kind of men who pretended money wasn't an issue but still grumbled about splitting the check. I casually reached out to one of them, Mr. Reynolds, an old neighbor who had known my dad for years. I didn't even have to fish for information. "Oh, your dad?" he said with a dry laugh. "If you're calling about money, get in line." I gripped my phone tighter. "What do you mean?" "He borrowed $2,000 from me last year," Mr. Reynolds said. "Said he'd pay me back in a month. It's been 12. Every time I bring it up, he acts like I'm hassling him." I felt my stomach turn. So it wasn't just me. "Has he borrowed from anyone else?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. "Pfft. Everyone. Steve from the bowling league, your Uncle Dave, even the guy who runs the liquor store down the street." I felt a slow, cold anger spread through me. My dad had a system. He'd been doing this for years, taking money from people, acting like it was no big deal, and then making them feel guilty for even asking about it. I thanked Mr. Reynolds and hung up. This was bigger than I thought. And now, I knew exactly what to do next. I was going to put my dad in a situation where he couldn't just laugh it off, where he'd have to answer for it. And once I was done, he'd regret ever thinking he could play me. I wasn't going to confront him directly. No, that would give him too much power, too much time to twist the conversation, laugh it off, and make me feel like the crazy one. Instead, I was going to put him in a position where he had to take me seriously. I spent the rest of the day reaching out to everyone I could. Mr. Reynolds had been right. My dad had borrowed from just about everyone he knew. Some people had given him a couple hundred, others a few thousand. The biggest loan I found was from Uncle Dave, who had lent him 15 grand for a business investment that never seemed to materialize. Most of them had the same story. They asked for their money back, and my dad either ignored them, made excuses, or laughed in their faces. Just like he had with me. It was almost impressive. He had built an entire personal economy based on other people's goodwill. But I was about to break it. I started a group chat. I kept it simple. Me. Hey everyone, I think we need to talk about Dad's loans. Let's meet at Mom and Dad's house Saturday at 6. The replies started rolling in within minutes. Uncle Dave. About time. Steve, from the bowling league. Count me in. Mr. Reynolds. Oh, this is gonna be good. By the time the group chat went silent, I had 10 people confirmed. 10 people, all ready to show up and force my dad to answer for what he'd done. And the best part? He wouldn't see it coming. Saturday, 5:55 p.m. I pulled into my parents' driveway, heart hammering. I wasn't nervous, I was excited. I could already hear voices from inside. My dad was home, talking loudly, probably holding court like he always did. Perfect. I knocked on the door. My mom answered, smiling. Oh. I didn't know you were coming over. I smiled back. Yeah, I figured it was time for a family discussion. And right on cue, the first car pulled up behind me. Then another. And another. One by one, my dad's creditors started piling into the house. His face went pale the second he saw who was walking in. What's going on? I sat down in the living room, looking him straight in the eye. We need to talk about all the money you owe, I said. And we're not leaving until we figure out how you're going to pay us back. For the first time in years, my dad was speechless. And I couldn't wait to see him squirm. For a long moment, my dad just sat there, his usual smug expression frozen in place. I could see the gears turning in his head, trying to figure out how to talk his way out of this. Then he laughed. Not a real laugh, one of those forced, performative ones, the kind he used when he wanted to make someone feel stupid for even bringing something up. Oh, come on, he said, shaking his head. What is this, an intervention? Are you all serious right now? No one laughed with him. Uncle Dave crossed his arms. Yeah, we're serious, Tom. I'm out 15 grand. When were you planning on paying that back? Steve from the bowling league chimed in. You told me you just needed a little help to get through a tight month. That was 2 years ago. Mr. Reynolds snorted. At least you guys got excuses. I just got ignored. My dad's smile faltered. Okay, everyone calm down. I was going to pay you back. It's just... Oh, really? I interrupted, leaning forward. Because when I asked, you laughed in my face. Said I should let it go. Silence. I could see it now. His usual tactics weren't going to work. He was cornered. My mom, who had been sitting quietly this whole time, finally spoke up. Tom? Her voice was tight. Is this true? My dad spread his hands. I borrowed some money, sure. But what's the big deal? We're family. We help each other. That's how it works. I exhaled sharply. No, Dad. That's how it works when you actually pay people back. You didn't borrow. You took. And now it's time to return what you owe. He looked around the room, waiting for someone, anyone, to take his side. But all he got were crossed arms and expectant stares. I decided to twist the knife. So, I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. Should we start making a payment plan? Or do I need to let everyone else in town know that Tom Always Good for It owes half the neighborhood? My dad's face turned bright red. For the first time in his life, he was the one being humiliated. And he hated it. The silence stretched. My dad's jaw tightened, his fingers clenching into the armrests of his chair. He looked around, eyes darting between the faces staring him down. All right, he finally muttered. Fine. I'll figure something out. I leaned back. Oh no, Dad. You don't get to figure something out. We're figuring it out right now. I turned my phone around and tapped on the screen. I've already totaled up what you owe, I said. Between everyone here, you're sitting at just under $40,000 in unpaid debts. My dad flinched like I had slapped him. My mom sucked in a sharp breath. Tom, is that true? Of course it's not true, my dad snapped. He's probably exaggerating. It's not like I have that kind of money just sitting around. That's not our problem. Uncle Dave cut in. You took our money. You promised to pay it back. So now you either come up with it, or we take the next step. My dad scoffed. Next step? What, you gonna take me to court? Steve crossed his arms. If that's what it takes. And the look on my dad's face? That was when it finally hit him. He had always gotten away with this before. He would laugh, wave off the conversation, and people would just drop it. But now there were 10 people in his living room treating this like an official meeting. He couldn't talk his way out of this. He couldn't make me feel dumb and move on. His pride was on the line. His reputation was on the line. And that was the part that broke him. I watched as he swallowed hard, his fingers tapping against his knee. Fine, he muttered. Fine. I'll pay everyone back. Just give me some time. How much time? I asked. A couple of months, he said quickly. I just need to move some things around. I'll take care of it, I swear. I nodded. Okay, we'll give you 2 months. But, I glanced at everyone in the room, then back at him. If you don't pay at least half of what you owe by the first month, we go public. My dad's eyes widened. Go public? Oh yeah, I said, smiling. We make sure everyone knows what kind of man you are. The bowling league, the poker guys, the neighbors, your business contacts. I'll make a post online with a full list of names and amounts. And since I know you care so much about your reputation. I shrugged. You probably don't want that, right? His face was an absolute mess of emotions. Anger, humiliation, panic. But in the end? Fear won. Fine, he said through gritted teeth. You win. I smiled. Great. We'll check in exactly 1 month from today. And with that I stood up. One by one, the others followed. We left my father sitting there, humiliated, powerless, trapped, the same way he had made us feel. And the best part? This time, he couldn't laugh it off. As we walked out of my parents' house, I could feel the tension finally lifting. It was done. My dad had no way out, no clever words to twist the situation in his favor. For once, he was the one scrambling. Uncle Dave clapped me on the back as we reached our cars. Kid, I gotta say, that was satisfying as hell. Mr. Reynolds chuckled. Yeah, Tom's always had a big mouth. Guess it finally came in handy. I grinned but didn't say anything. I wasn't celebrating yet. This wasn't over until my dad actually paid up. And I had a feeling he was already scheming. I didn't have to wait long to be proven right. 1 week later, I was at home, sipping my morning coffee, when my phone buzzed. Mom, can we talk? I sighed. I knew this was coming. I typed back. If this is about Dad, there's nothing to talk about. A minute later, my phone started ringing. I groaned and picked up. Mom. Tom, listen. She cut in, her voice already dripping with guilt-tripping energy. Your father is under so much stress right now. He can't sleep, He's barely eating. Oh no. I deadpanned. Anyway. She huffed. You don't have to be so cruel. He's your father, and you're treating him like some kind of criminal. I let out a short laugh. Mom. He forcibly took money from 10 people and never paid them back. That's literally what a criminal does. Silence. Then she changed tactics. He's doing his best, Tom. He's been looking for ways to get the money, but you rushed him into this. If you'd just given him some time. He had time. I snapped. 4 months. And how much did he pay back? Nothing. She sighed, her voice softening. He just needs a little help. Ah. There it was. I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my temple. Mom. Did he send you to ask me for more money? She hesitated, too long. And that's when I knew. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Oh my God. He actually has the nerve to ask me for more money? After everything? He just needs a small loan. She said quickly. Just enough to. I cut her off. Mom. If you asked me that again, I'm going to send our family group chat a list of every single person he owes money to. Silence. Then she muttered. You're just like your uncle. That made me smile. Good. Because Uncle Dave actually gets his money back. I hung up. I knew my dad. If he was desperate enough to send my mom to soften me up, that meant one thing. He was running out of options. And I was loving every second of it. The next few days were quiet. Too quiet. I knew my dad wasn't just sitting there, accepting his fate. He was planning something, he always did. When backed into a corner, he didn't apologize. He schemed. And sure enough, 3 days later, I got a text from Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave, we have a problem. Call me. I dialed immediately. What happened? He sighed. Your dad's trying to flip the script. He's been going around telling people that we're harassing him for money he doesn't owe. I felt my grip tighten on the phone. You've got to be kidding me. I wish I was. He muttered. He told the guys at the bowling alley that you and I are shaking him down. That it's all some misunderstanding. I let out a short laugh. Yeah? And what do they think about that? They didn't believe him. Uncle Dave said. But he's trying, Tom. He's trying to make you the bad guy. I wasn't surprised. This was classic my dad, make enough noise, spread enough doubt, and maybe people would back off. But I wasn't backing off. I had given him a deadline, and if he wasn't planning to pay up, then I was going to make sure everyone knew the truth. I spent the next few hours gathering evidence. Text messages. Bank transfers. Voicemails of him asking for the money in the first place. Every piece of proof I had that he had taken from all of us. Then I drafted a message, one that I'd send out to everyone who needed to see it if my dad tried to screw us over. But before I could send it, my phone buzzed. Dad, we need to talk. Come over. I stared at the message. I wasn't stupid. This wasn't an apology. This was a last-ditch charm offensive. But I smiled. Because whether he knew it or not, I had already won. I didn't respond to my dad's text right away. I let him sweat. Let him wonder if I was even going to show up. But I already knew my answer. I was absolutely going over there. Not because I wanted to hear whatever excuse he had lined up, but because I wanted to watch him squirm. I waited until the next afternoon before heading over. When I pulled into the driveway, I could already see him through the window, pacing back and forth in the living room. He was nervous. Good. I knocked once before letting myself in. My mom was sitting on the couch, hands clasped together like she was praying this whole thing would magically go away. My dad stood near the fireplace, arms crossed, trying to act calm. It wasn't working. You took your time, he said. I shrugged. Had better things to do. He frowned. Sit down. No thanks, I said, leaning against the wall. Let's just get to it. He sighed, rubbing his temples like he was the victim here. All right, look. Maybe I was a little careless with money. Maybe I let things go too long. But this whole debt collector nonsense is ridiculous. I laughed. Oh, so now it's nonsense? His voice tightened. Tom, you don't understand. I never intended to screw anyone over. Things just got away from me. I stared at him. 4 months got away from you? My dad sighed, sitting down in his chair. I just need a little more time, all right? I pulled out my phone. How much? He shifted uncomfortably. A couple more months. I raised an eyebrow. That's what you said last time. And the time before that. Damn it, Tom, he snapped. Do you want to see me fail? You think I have the money just sitting around? I shook my head. No. But I think you have enough to start paying something. Instead, you're running around town telling people I'm harassing you. Do you really think that's going to stop us from getting our money back? His expression darkened. That's not what I meant. Doesn't matter, I said. Because now you have two choices. I pulled up the message I had drafted, the one detailing everything he had done. The names, the amounts, the proof. All it needed was one tap to send. Option 1. I continued. You start paying everyone back. Even if it's in chunks. You show good faith, and we back off. I turned the phone toward him. Option 2. I send this to everyone. Your friends. Your bowling league. The entire damn neighborhood. And once your reputation is gone, good luck ever borrowing money again. His face went white. He looked at my mom, expecting her to step in. She didn't. Tom. He started, his voice lower now. Less angry, more uncertain. You wouldn't do that. I smiled. Try me. For the first time in my entire life, my dad looked powerless. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His hand clenched into a fist. He looked humiliated. Then he exhaled. Fine. I'll start paying. I leaned forward. First payment by Friday. Or the message goes out. He didn't argue. He didn't fight back. Because he knew. He had lost. Friday came. And for the first time in his life, my dad actually followed through. A small payment, barely a dent in what he owed, but it was something. Proof that he knew I wasn't bluffing. Proof that, for once, he wasn't in control. Over the next few weeks, he kept paying. Slowly, grudgingly, but he paid. Because he had no choice. His reputation was everything to him. And I had made it clear. I was willing to destroy it. The best part? He never laughed about it again. No smug grins. No jokes. No brushing me off. Just silence. He knew. I wasn't the fool in this story. He was. And he'd never make that mistake again.